Mr. Ranjit, before you start, a quick question for you. A quick question is, how does one get ridiculously efficient? Like, what is your magic? If you could let us know in one line,
Yeah.
because the first thing that comes to anybody's mind when they think about me is ridiculously lazy. So I would want to change my ways and bend my ways. So what is your secret, Mr. Ranjit?
So maybe you can start using Nintex and you'll become ridiculously efficient.
Oh, brand integration. Always fantastic, Mr. Ranjit. What an answer. Stage is all yours.
Thank you so much, Nikita. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I appreciate you joining this session today. I'm Ranjit Ramachandran from the solutions team of Nintex. We are a process automation software vendor. And for the next 15 minutes, I'm going to talk about how you can overcome automation challenges in manufacturing sector. Now, this is always an interesting topic whenever I have this conversation with our customers in manufacturing sector, as usually organizations will only focus on the things that drive business. In manufacturing, the focus is mostly on equipment and labor, but it's just the industry I 4.0 that companies have realized that the process management is also equally important, right? Before we dive into the details, let's take a step back and look at why companies should look into process optimization and automation. Now, first and foremost, as always, it's the cost reduction. Typically in manufacturing sector, cost reduction usually relates to OEE, that is overall equipment efficiency and labor. Now, along with OEE and labor, we also need to ensure that the resources are optimized and used to the fullest. That is to ensure the agility and the flexibility. Now, in short, what we really need is an IT-OT convergence. As much as operational technology is important to maintain the assets and production in the plant, information technology is also important to ensure the processes are optimized, resources are used to the fullest, and the task is automated to save human effort. For example, let's say you have built in an asset maintenance using an IIoT device. But if the request for maintenance is not raised at the right time, and if the information is not passed on to the right department, it will not help by just investing in IIoT device, right? The next most common factor is risk and compliance. Now, in manufacturing industry where there are multiple compliances and governance to be followed, it's very important to ensure that the risk is flagged upfront and mitigated, right? Automation of this portion would just make it easier for companies to ensure that they are following all the compliances, especially the businesses in highly regulated industries. Now, automation also helps in increasing productivity. In fact, especially in manufacturing sector, when you have the shift handover, it is very important to pass on the information between the production shifts so that there is very less time spent due to non-passing of the information, right? Now, we all know about Industry I 4.0, a new trend of automation and data exchange in manufacturing technologies. It says, on the production flow, each machine, robot, component, and even the final product itself has a digital model connected through the data that is shared on the cloud. Now, most of the industries do agree to this, but the focus is only on IoT and augmented reality. There is very little or no focus on the process that automates them. In fact, there are many processes that could cause the bottleneck, even if we follow I 4.0, and some of the names are on the screen. In fact, we have studies and researches to show that most of the industries are still using the traditional approach or the paper-based approach for these processes. And that is where Nintex comes in. And let me explain you how we can help you to automate these processes, right? So now Nintex has got a number of offerings when it comes to process automation. First and foremost, we believe that before you even start automation, it is very important to document and map the processes in the right manner, right? Many a times when you talk to different stakeholders, you would understand that each of them, they are executing the process their own way. The reason is because it is not well documented and because there is no single source of truth that they can refer to if they want to go and check how to execute a process. Now, Nintex comes with a very easy to understand, intuitive way of documenting a process. You will be able to collaborate with your stakeholders and get the feedback. You will be able to raise an incident based on the auditor's feedback and ensure that the action is taken according to that. You will be able to come up with the training courses that users need to go through at specified interval of time. In fact, we also have a risk and compliance module using which you can ensure that all the risks are mitigated and are taken care of in the right time. Now, once you document and map your processes, now next comes the form and the workflow builder. Now, in Nintex, we offer both on-premises and cloud solutions. So we totally understand that businesses have their own restrictions, and we give you options for both. So basically what we have is a low-code, no-code platform wherein you can simply drag and drop controls into the canvas, build your own form, and also the workflow or the approval process that you need. It's a very easy to use tool that even a person with zero technical background will be able to spin off a form in a matter of minutes or few hours. Now, once you automate your forms and workflows for your data-driven processes, we do understand that you may probably need to automatically, generate documents, maybe something like a contract management system, a purchase requisition system, even employee onboarding, a very simple process. You would probably want to generate offer letter based on the designation, based on the geographical location, and so on. We have an automated system for that, which can pull in data from various data sources, generate this document, and also get an electronic signature if that is needed. Now, what happens is this part of the portion is called BPM, right? Business process automation. Now, there is always a dependency on a human being to complete the process. For example, let's take the example of purchase requisition process. Unless and until a human being does not raise the invoice, you cannot trigger a purchase requisition process, right? We totally understand that, and we also appreciate the fact that humans could be busy. They could be doing some other important task. And that is why we've brought in RPA, which is robotic process automation, which can even automate that portion for you, right? RPA can kind of mimic any human action. And we have a very tight integration with our RPA and BPM, wherein a RPA can call a workflow and a workflow can call RPA, right? Now, that is all about automation. Now, automation is not really complete if you don't have an avenue to look back if the processes that are automated are working well, to ensure that the processes are optimized, and to make sure that they are in the most optimal manner. So that is where we bring in our analytics, which will give you a deep dive information of how your processes have been put up and how it is helping your organization. Now, once you have the analytics, what we also offer is we offer a great bunch of out-of-the-box connectors, because we do understand that you would have multiple technologies in your technology stack, and we've just made it easier for you to connect to almost anything and everything in the world, right? So how are we different than the other tools in the market? Now, Nintex has a different approach to process management and automation, right? The traditional discovery and the mapping of processes were always challenging. The automation requires heavy coding, so you need special skill sets. And of course, time to value is really slow because the projects could take months or years to complete. But what happens in Nintex is our easy to use process platform engages team to collaboratively map and manage and to improve the business process, right? The low code, no code platform ensures that even users from a non-technical background will be able to automate the processes, and thus the result you can see in a much, much lesser time than the traditional approach. With that, let's take a pause here. Let me show you in action, right? Now, this is our first offering, which is called ProMap. That is where you map and document your processes. As you can see, it is a very intuitive, very easy to read process. You could simply click on it. You will know what is the trigger, what is the frequency of the trigger, what are the roles who are taking care of these processes. And let's say now health safety coordinator needs to log an incident if there is an incident. If the health safety coordinator simply comes and clicks on this, they will get the link which they need to use to log an incident. So it's as simple as that. Everything is here. You don't really need to step out to understand how to execute these steps, right? We also come with a very good option for the manufacturing sector called global variation. Now, possibly I do have employees from China who understand Chinese better. So I'll just go to the Chinese version and I'll be able to read the entire process in Chinese language. I could possibly have my team from India who understands Hindi better. So I could simply change the global variation into Hindi language, and I'll be able to come in and read the entire process in the Hindi language, right? Now, let me show you the automation part of it. So I'm just going to click on this link that opens up the form. It will automatically detect my name and the department based on my login ID. I'm going to go and select the time. Let me say the incident occurred at 2:30. This is the date. Location, I'm just going to give my PIN code for our address. It automatically captures the address. I'll say there's an equipment issue. If you were using the mobile platform, you could use the barcode scanner. Now, since this is on desktop, I'm just going to type in the number. The details of the incident, what happened, report any details. I would say that, machine stopped working, describe the outcome, no harm, describe the corrective measure. We are using the machine in flow 2. Yep. And I'm just going to submit this form. Now, what this does is it goes and checks back my process. It understands that it needs to send for approval to the next role, and it will automatically send an email to the next role to take an action. So typically what happens is when the officer would go in and check their Outlook, they would have received an email, something like this, which says that equipment issue incident has been reported. I've already captured the important details that I had entered in the form. It gives me a clear idea of what is happening. And then it also gives me a link using which I will be able to go in and take a corrective action, right? So it brings me to this particular form, which will give me all the details that I had entered in a non-editable format so that I don't play around with the data. I can see these details. I can, take a action. I can come back to the outcome page and see that, it gives me options for next steps. Let's say I want to assign an investigation team. I'm going to assign Andy as the manager for this investigation, and I will assign another team member as a safety committee representative. I can even attach some evidences if I need, and I'll just say, I want to proceed with this. So on and so forth. You could have the entire process automated. You could have reminder notification. You could have escalation email. You can have the entire form, no matter how complicated that is. You just saw you could have repeating controls and so on, and just completely automate a process that possibly you were executing it manually, which could have possibly taken much more time than just raising a form and clicking on a button, right? So who are we? What is our credibility in automation? Focused on delivering processes, intelligence, and automation that really transforms the way people work. Nintex today is the world's largest privately held software vendor for process automation. We serve more than 10,000 customers, including 50% of the 500 Fortune companies, and we are spread across 90 countries. We do have tons and tons of case studies where our customers have completely transformed the way they work using our platform. In fact, here are some of the case studies. The Nintex Process Platform is helping Coca-Cola Beverages Florida to transform and automate its business processes and to ensure efficiency across all operations, right? As a startup company, Coke Florida acquired territory. It operates in 3 phases, resulting in processes that are not fully integrated. So to enable end-to-end integration across manufacturing, sales, and distribution operations, and to ensure efficiency across all operations, Coke Florida uses the full suite of Nintex products. In fact, Coke Florida, with 4,600 employees and a distributor of 600 products, ensures safety, quality, and integrity in all operations using Nintex. Robert Johnson, Senior Manager of Enterprise Transformation, in his testimonial says that the ISO auditors were floored by what we've done with ProMap. They loved it. It's made their life tremendously easier by eliminating the shelves full of binders that they would have otherwise had to go through. Similarly, we have another case study, which is E.T. Brown, needed to automate a manual review and approval process that included custom integration. Now, Peter Goes, Vice President of IT, states, out of the box, Nintex offered all the features that they were looking for. In fact, the benefits that they clocked were insane. 5,005% ROI, payback within just 4 days and 2 hours. They came up with a 29 million 5-year benefit, including 16 million in new revenue. The process time was cut by almost 50%, right? Now, we do have many more such case studies and success stories. If you would like to hear more, join us in our global event on March 1st. You can hear the inspiring stories of Nintex customers and our latest product innovations. You could simply scan the QR code to register for this event. With that, I'll open up the floor for Q&A. Back to you, Nikita.
Fantastic session, Mr. Ranjit. Of course, before we end this session, a big round of applause to you. And I would request you to kindly applaud yourselves along with us because that was totally well deserved. Thank you so much. Big round of applause to you.
Thank you.